Well, I think the first thing to point out is that rare earths and other critical raw materials that are needed for the energy transition, unlike fossil fuels, are not actually destroyed through use. And so the EU and other parts of the world have abundant, we'll say, above ground stocks accumulating in wasted technologies, decommissioned infrastructure, old vehicles, and things like this. And so tapping that frontier might actually solve two problems at once by dealing with a waste problem and also sourcing rare earth elements from places that, well, don't involve digging new holes in the ground. But to meet the energy transition goals, some mining will be necessary for sure. And so the way to make sure that that is safe and responsible is to uncompromisingly implement the best available techniques and actually to make environmental and labor regulations much more stringent and sophisticated to ensure that livelihoods and landscapes aren't destroyed in the name of paradoxically saving the world.
There's a big controversy about a potential lithium mine in Serbia rumbling on right now. There are ideas to mine in quite pristine areas of Greenland. If you were living there and looking at what's happened in the history of China or maybe Chile, that would worry you. There's been terrible pollution problems. What do you think could be done differently in Europe?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things that many people are hopeful for is the relatively more stringent environmental and labor safety regulations in the EU context. However, if I were living in those communities, I would really want to know, I would want some sort of assurance, guarantee that the material that would be extracted from this place would exclusively go to climate-friendly purposes.
Because at the moment, some of it, you say, is being used for bombs to drop on people, which also totally destroys the element that is rare and finite.
Well, absolutely. And also let's think about a lithium battery, right? A lithium battery in itself is a renewable energy technology, but you know, there's there are all sorts of battery-powered military technologies that are being used around the world right now as we speak to inflict incredible harm on people. And so a renewable technology is important, but we do also need to be talking very explicitly about the purposes to which it is used. And
finally, we talk about going carbon neutral by 2050. We need to for the climate, but are we being honest enough about what that actually means in terms of the amount of materials that we will have to dig up to get that done?
The carbon neutral question is a very tricky one because it's essentially an accounting question. And if you do a holistic accounting of the environmental or carbon footprint of an extractive operation or an industrial development operation, there's a lot that isn't being accounted for. For example, any development destroys the soil microbiome, and that soil microbiome is crucial for greenhouse gas sequestration. And also, when that soil microbiome is destroyed, it releases greenhouse gases. I have yet to see a carbon accounting balance sheet that looks at things at that scale. And so to the question, are we being honest? I think we're not taking account of everything. That's just one example.